Imagine a church without prayers. Imagine a government without citizens. Imagine democracy without journalists. Imagine a world without the media. Life is full of issues and stories about people, communities, and governments. Stories that have to be told by well-trained journalists. That's why you can't imagine news without Joy News.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. Coming up, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Asiama admits rising crude prices could cause some shocks to the economy and inflation.
We export crude oil. So when oil prices are going up, that has a negative impact on us nonetheless. And so that has a direct effect.
Also ahead, Ghana Revenue Authority hopeful of revenue collection improvement as it finally implements the integrated tax administration system.
GRE, we are using technology and innovation to improve our tax administration experience for taxpayers. And therefore, in today's world, we believe that iTax is the appropriate technology we have to use. But as you know, technology changes with time. And therefore, when technology changes and is no longer needed, we will have the responsibility to change.
Thanks for being with us, everyone. Details coming up.
Business Live on Joy News is brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and Telecel, connecting energies.
And first up, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Asiama, has admitted that rising crude prices could come with some negative impact on inflation and the economy. Inflation increased for the second consecutive time to 3.7% in May 2026, with projections showing it could increase further to about 10%. But speaking with Bloomberg in London, Dr. Asiama said the central bank has built the required reserves to manage the shocks.
Net importers of petroleum products, even though we export crude oil. So when oil prices are going up, that has a negative impact on us nonetheless. And so that has a direct effect on export prices. So far, government has managed it quite well. We haven't had a lot of impact compared to our peer countries. We are hopeful that the crisis will continue to be a short-term one. We are watching it by the day. The good thing is that we built adequate reserves. We believe that our resilience currently is way, way better than a year ago. And so we are watching, we are seeing things unfold. But based on the information we have currently, we have we do think that we are still on good grounds.
At what point does it become a bit more concerning? Because it's been about 3 months at this point in time.
Well, if it turns out that the crisis is going to be persistent, and if it turns out that we have to brace ourselves for full adjustment, then certainly the outlook could be impacted. But from where we sit currently, it's unfolding in line with our projections based on current data.
Well, joining me on Zoom, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana and Executive Director, Center for Policy Scrutiny, Dr. Edu Susakwadia. Hello to you. So how significant is the recent rise in crude oil prices for Ghana's inflation outlook?
Well, good evening. Thanks for having me. You see in the recent release of the CPI, that's inflation rates, you saw a marginal increment in inflation rate, but the details of the monthly inflation shows a picture of where certain special items such as diesel, petrol, and tomatoes are rather driving the month-on-month inflation in the country. It shows you how diesel, petrol, and tomatoes are impacting our inflation month-on-month. In fact, the month-on-month inflation, short term, we may not see it or impact on a year-on-year, but it's showing the month-on-month, which is giving us a signal that if nothing is done about it, the future inflation outlook will be dire than we anticipate. So I think we just hope that the war will end, and we believe that government may also put in place certain measures to help mitigate the impact.
Well, fingers crossed, both sides look like they want some peace, but we heard the governor say inflation could rise to about 10%. How realistic is this projection in the current economic context?
You know, the Bank of Ghana's medium-term target end-of-year inflation has always been 8 plus or minus 2. That's between 6 to 10%. So to the extent that he anticipates, or the bank anticipates, that inflation will be around 10%, it is still, it's higher than the 3%, 3.4% that we are seeing now, but it's still within the Bank of Ghana's projected medium-term target of 6 to 10%. What we have to do is to manage the domestic aspects, because for external shocks, you may have little control over them. But the domestic issues, we have more control over them. We have control over food production, we have control over storage, we have control over transportation, we have control over any other thing. So that is why I always make the point that the fight against inflation should not be left in the hands of only the central bank, because the central bank can only do thus far, use monetary tools to fight inflation. But there's another side of inflation called the cost push inflation, which requires the fiscal policy, which requires those in the real sector like agri, trade, transportation, they all have to come on board. So it should be a holistic approach instead of leaving it into the hands of only the central bank. So my appeal to the government is that all other players must also come on board and play their role, so that collectively we can fight against inflation and win. And Bank of Ghana alone cannot win the fight.
How effective are foreign exchange reserves in cushioning an economy against external shocks like rising oil prices?
So you see in the build-up of crude oil price, the export price, you see crude oil price is there, exchange rate is there, the fair OMC's margin, and the government taxes and levies. So the exchange rate is just one of the determinants of the export price. So the Bank of Ghana's reserve can help manage the exchange rate to the extent that when there's an increase in demand for dollars because of the increase in imports bill, then they can meet, and which I know they have the capacity, they are building now reserves to meet it. But what about the other determinants? What about the other determinants like the rise in crude oil price, taxes and levies, and the margins of the OMCs? These are very difficult, to be managed by the central bank. So, in as much as, again, I say that the central bank can play their role in the exchange rate management, other things, other factors that that determine the price must also be managed. The government must manage its taxes and levies on the export price. The OMCs must also manage their margins, and etc., etc. The more sustainable way to deal with this, as for external shock, we cannot anticipate, or even if we anticipate, we have little control over. A better sustainable way is to have our own local refinery, and I'm happy that in recent times the president mentioned that Ghana, we are increasing our local refinery. That is good. We must intensify our local refinery so that at least we have the cushioning domestically here to fight against any major effect, negative effect of external shock.
Yeah, I feel you when you say it's not just the central bank that has got to deal with this, but I just want to ask you, should the central bank rely more on reserves, or should monetary policy tightening also play a stronger role?
Or should
monetary policy tightening play a stronger role?
Yeah. Okay, so I mean both. Price stability is both inflation and exchange rate. So it is their mandate to do that. I think the Bank of Ghana is doing that. In any case, even if they incur more cost in their sterilization, they prefer to incur losses to allowing the impact to be falling on Ghanaian consumers. So I believe, and I'm making the point again, that BoG can use monetary policy tools, they can use reserves to manage the exchange rate, but they can do that far. The other issues must be managed by the other players. I believe that the current position of the Bank of Ghana, taking the bullets for everybody in the economy, is not the best. Other players must also come on board to play their role, because as you mentioned, BoG currently is not in a good position. They are almost insolvent. The government is even calling for recapitalization of the central bank. So the central bank cannot continue to incur losses and take the bullet and be destroying their balance sheet, etc. It must be a holistic approach. It will get to a time that the central bank can no longer play the role effectively as they are doing. And so we don't have to get to that level where it will be a bit, not okay for them to play their role. We need to approach everything in a holistic manner. If you can use monetary tools, you can sterilize, you can do whatever you want, but if the other sectors are not playing their role, we will not get the desired results that we have. And you saw in their recent balance sheet losses that they have made. Can they continue to make those losses for the next 5 years, 10 years? No way. They will not be in the position to make those losses. So we should at least shelve Bank of Ghana, we should cushion them small and allow other players to also play their role. The refinery, we need a refinery. If BoG is using monetary tools to fight inflation, what is our Agric Ministry doing? What is the Trade Ministry doing? What is the Transportation Ministry doing? So that if it is 100 and BoG is fighting, say, 30, the remaining 70 could be fought by the real sector and the fiscal sector. But if you leave all the 100 to be tackled by BoG, then they will incur higher losses than normal. And now we are calling for recapitalization. And without recapitalization, I'm not sure the Bank of Ghana in the near future will be in a good position to play their role effectively. After all, you can intervene, but you may also run out of reserves.
Right.
So to what extent will you intervene? If you run out of reserves, what will you do? Are we going to close the economy? Are we going to close the country? No. So we shouldn't get to that level where BoG will not be in a position to play their role effectively.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and perspective, Dr. Edosu Sarkodie there. I appreciate your time. Now, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sarpong, says a full implementation of the integrated tax administration system will transform tax administration by improving efficiency, enhancing collaboration in tax audits, and enable more effective use of data. He emphasized that a digital platform will be provided to taxpayers at no extra cost, ensuring broader access and compliance. Mr. Sarpong made the remarks at a stakeholder engagement on the ITAS rollout in Accra.
We are using technology and innovation to improve our tax administration experience for taxpayers. And therefore, in today's world, we believe that ITAS is the appropriate technology we have to use. But as you know, technology changes with time. And therefore, when technology changes and is no longer needed, we will have the responsibility to change. So, for example, today, we've worked with an old system called the GitMIS for over 5 years. But we believe that it is about time to introduce new system that will ensure that we continue improving the experience with our taxpayers. So for now, this is a medium-term system that we want to use, particularly as we seek to integrate with other systems. But of course, time will tell. If there's a new technology or innovation that comes into the future, then definitely in the same spirit of improving experience, GRA will make the investment to do. But I want to assure that changing technology sometimes leads to disruption of businesses and people have to learn. So we do not intend that with this technology we'll place it within a year or two. But as we move along long into the future, as new and better technologies emerge, GI will embrace and ensure that we'll keep focused on ensuring the systems we have continue to be efficient, simpler, and give the experience to taxpayers so that they can seamlessly fulfill their tax obligation.
All right, on Zoom with us, tax consultant Francis Timor-Boy. It's been a while. Good to speak with you tonight. Francis, what exactly is the integrated tax administration system and how is it different from the current system?
So there, we've seen another level of the use of technology in the GRA's own operation to ensure how they perform their work efficiently. Remember, in the past, they were using manual, then they moved to the online TIN application. Then they moved to ITAPS. ITAPS was around 2019. Then currently we are using the GetMate. So the GetMate allows you to, file your returns, make payment online. You can do that via Momo. And today we're hearing that there's a new system called the ITAPS, which is going to be more efficient and be able to, give the GRA more data for them to do their assessment. For me, I think the biggest difference is the integration capacity of this system that we are hearing. Before, GRA was not integrated to the Office of the Registrar of Companies. The system that we are hearing now is capable of, integrating with Senate, the ORC. You can even integrate it with the customs. So it gives you a 360 view or data about the taxpayer. If somebody clear goods, somebody is operating some business somewhere, all of these can bring the information that the GRA needs to do proper assessment onto one platform. And for taxpayers to, it makes it easier. Before, even if you want to apply for tax application, tax clearance certificate for some contracts, you have to go to the GRA's office. Today, midnight, you can even do it. So the expectation is that the way GRA does their work, as far as tax collection is concerned, will be improved.
Yeah, in practical terms, how will this improve efficiency in tax administration, just for the benefit of our audience?
So for a taxpayer, filing becomes easier. You don't need to write letters to the GRA anymore. We are told that now it's going to be strictly, digital, online. If you have any issue, you just have to, log online, and then you have people to resort to your queries. We expect that the new system will deal with issues like where I have paid my tax. For example, an employee. Today, if you log on to your portal, your employer has withheld the tax from your salary before they even give you the amount. But you log on and then you see that there are balances indicating that you owe. So all this, we are told that the new system will clear all of these things. And so we expect some, smooth customer service as far as our tax affairs are concerned. And then from the GRA side also, it will give him enough data. For me, I think that what I was excited about to hear was the fact that audit is going to be virtual. You're no more going to see tax officers in your premises anymore. They will sit because they have every information about you, and the information is integrated. So they can even assess you from remote areas, and you don't need to be intimidated by any officer in your premises. So we hope that it will be properly and efficiently rolled out so that it will bring some, efficiency in the system.
Do you anticipate any challenges during the rollout of ITAS?
Yes, the challenges we anticipate. Before they move from ITAPS to ITAS or GetMate. Sorry, the one we are using currently is GetMate. There were some balances that were the whole system transition created some problems. And as we speak, for example, you can log on to your tax portal and you are told that you owe some money. Meanwhile, you don't owe. So there are risks in transitioning from the old system to the new system. Again, we have our other taxpayers who may not be too much tax savvy or, digital savvy. So how do we bring them on so that we ensure that they all come with it as we adopt this technology? Taxation is not only in Accra and Kumasi and Takoradi. We have other remote areas where they wouldn't know. So there must be some instances where we allow a way so that they can also pay their taxes. Again, because this is technology, connectivity is very key. How do we ensure that there's constant connectivity, especially when there's deadline? You log on to the system and then the system seems to be freezing and you do not have opportunity to go to any GRA office because everything is done online. So internet connectivity becomes another big issue. And the last one I would like to add is education. We still have a big problem in tax education. So we need to do that, consistent education to ensure that even the existing people who are using the Getting system will be able to implement and come along as far as this new platform is concerned. I think the Commissioner General mentioned that they expect that it's not going to be a one-day job. It's going to be in steps. But challenges we anticipate, it can disrupt business operations.
All right. One more question as we all try to get familiar with this new system. In what way will the system improve tax audits and collaboration among tax authorities?
So for the GRA, they wouldn't be doing those random audits anymore. Time is very important. So if you have data available to you, you now do what we call risk-based audits. You focus on where you think there's non-compliance. If at the end of the day I'm compliant, fully compliant, why waste time and then come and disturb me with too many audits? And I believe that you've heard many companies saying that they keep auditing them. Today is transfer pricing, the next day it is VAT, and left, right, center. So with this digital platform, GRA is now going to focus more on risk-based, which means that it's going to be more efficient. They can get more yield from any audits that they may get. And again, if audit is done virtually, I have time to do my business as a business person. So hopefully, if it is rolled out properly, in fact, it should even lead to increase in revenue over time, because there are compliance monitoring. Even tax consultants are going to be licensed and registered. So the model, if it is rolled out properly, I believe that in the long term, GRA will be able to raise more revenue from the enhanced compliance measures that they are pursuing. And remember, they are also going to deploy POS to taxpayers. So they are all part of the compliance measures and monitoring. So let's hope that it is properly rolled out and then Ghana benefits from this technology.
Great. Thank you so much, Francis Timobo, a tax consultant. Appreciate the insights. You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We will be back with some more stories.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,000 247.
Hey, Abili, wabadim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
In the first quarter of 2026, Telecel Ghana Foundation continued its commitment to connecting communities through health and education. In health, the focus was simple: bringing care closer to the people who need it most. From cervical cancer screenings in partnership with Kolebu Teaching Hospital to community-wide medical outreach in Yeji and Chamba, and free ultrasound services for expectant mothers in underserved regions, hundreds of women gained access to essential care. With free NHIS registration, that support extended even further. In education, the focus shifted to the future.
We are very grateful for bringing us these kits. That is going to give us an exposure to robotics and other engineering areas.
Thank you, Telecel! Through the Telecel Digitech Academy, hundreds of students across 5 regions were equipped with practical skills in coding, robotics, and web design, building real solutions to real problems. With a strong emphasis on inclusion, young girls were also introduced to digital skills through the Grow Girls in STEM program. Because when access meets opportunity, communities don't just grow, they thrive.
We hope that many of these young ones will have the interest in STEM activities.
It's more than just a ceremony for us all. It's a moment we remember for a very long time.
As the journey continues, so does the commitment to connect, to empower, and to transform lives across communities.
Welcome back. Goldfields is leveraging digital technology to build a more resilient and efficient supply chain while expanding opportunities for local businesses. Speaking with Joy Business on the sidelines of the 19th West African Mining and Power Expo in Accra, the supply chain manager at Goldfields, Joshua Donko, said the company is committed to building local champions for national economic growth and development.
19th West African Mining and Power Expo brought together industry leaders, innovators, and key stakeholders from across the region to explore emerging trends and advancement in the mining and power sectors. Speaking on the theme, Supply Chain Innovations in West Africa, Building Resilient, Efficient, and Competitive Value Chains for Mining and Energy, the supply chain manager at Goldfields, Joshua Donko, underscored the company's commitment to leveraging digital technologies to enhance efficiency across its supply chain operations.
Now, it helps us in 2 ways. It helps the supplier to be able to improve on their system, and for us, it also helps us to be able to narrow it down to where the supplier is not doing well, where we can come in to help the supplier to build their capacity so that we can all together build the resilient supply chain that we're looking for. Now, the other bit is to support our local content by making it easier for the in-country suppliers to be able to fully participate in the procurement opportunities that we have, especially for the host community suppliers. And when that is fully implemented, it's expected that it will improve supplier engagement and efficiency.
Vice President of External Affairs at Goldfields and President of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Michael Edem Akafia, highlighted Goldfields' continuous support for indigenous businesses, noting that many local enterprises that have benefited from the company's procurement and capacity building initiatives have grown into key players across various industries.
In fact, what you would find is that Goldfields has an excellent track record, which speaks to the fact that ahead of it becoming a requirement of local content, it was Goldfields that awarded a contract to an exclusively Ghanaian-owned fuel supplier. Today, that fuel supplier, in terms of volume, is number 4 on the national list. And the founder of that fuel supply company acknowledges that Goldfields was a reason, essentially, for where it is at this point in time.
All right, that's Business Live. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Enjoy your weekend.
Business News Live on Joy News was brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and Telecel, connecting energies.
In 2021, Ghana launched the LPG for Development program as part of its energy policy, with the ambitious goal of achieving 50% LPG market penetration by 2030. This documentary delves into the impact of these initiatives, which were designed to increase the adoption of LPG and encourage Ghanaians to transition away from wood fuels. As the world strives to combat deforestation and climate change, these efforts play a crucial role in fostering sustainable energy practices in Ghana. It is a sunny Friday afternoon here at Dromankese in the Nkranza North District. The people here are mostly traders and farmers. In this village, many of the communities around, the residents have for many years made a living out of a business very inimical to the fight against climate change. Here is DJ, as he likes to be called by his folks. He is a charcoal producer.
Already me wo sabi di na metimi di aye enya sasika no amesa me wo bi di na mensa fa sasika na san koto gas e ba sa manya nyema mi no abra me su bi di na gas no e be boa me de but mesan di sasika na abri bia gas na sa me kwa koto mesa koto no mesan di for instance say me ye bi di say wa duru say wa wonko ahon de ntimi ase so fa ba di ofa library ni oba be boa nti example gas na me 50 cedi na bidie no so me gusu ameye na me koto gas no na me be ye bidie na 50 cedi no a me de koto gas na senka me de ma de e be boa me no sa atem no ma anya no e ko ba sa na aduma no so etisen na chi.
Charcoal production, its sale and transport is big business. There is even a driver association within the charcoal distribution value chain. Kamal is the spokesperson for the association and talks about the importance of charcoal to his community.
Bideni de nke besra ban say onhye mu kena mawe because bideni de so mugu bideni aduma kom na bekunye bideni de omoto bideni pa bet akwa say de common enye hanko a won tisi awiase afa na ba bia bideni aduma na no moye enye hanko a ti bideni de omoto nse bideni no ye de no aduane a aya difference we say gas no. Cause gas no the dona kase gas na aduane ana bufa so gudugudu bidie so de ebesisu kakra ansa na nti ye se bidie no sisi ade kamemenya de anka bidie na yenkoso yenhyemu kenana se bidie no yenkoso a enya no mo.
However, after 30 years of advocacy and investments by the government and other stakeholders to ensure that people stop using food fuels for LPG, some people still prefer charcoal to LPG. Evans Ohenijan is the presiding member of the Nkranza North District Assembly. He explains how 50 cedis worth of charcoal can last him 1 month compared to spending 220 cedis to buy LPG, which lasts only 1 month.